Welcome to Passionaire Magazine, the podcast where we talk about business, tech, food and travel, fashion, health and fitness, the arts and culture, where we want you to live your passion. Passionaire Magazine, the podcast. Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me for Passionaire Magazine, the podcast. Today, we're going to talk about the importance of self-care as an entrepreneur. Now, please understand that I use the word entrepreneur interchangeably. If you are a solopreneur, a mompreneur, a fempreneur, whatever preneur type person you are, please understand that when I say entrepreneur, I am speaking about you. Let's get started. We all know that it can be difficult to work for yourself and deal with the stress and the burnout and the real concerns that we have as a preneur person. As an entrepreneur, we often deal with unusual working hours, the pressures that we have to deal with, including deadlines, time restraints, all of those types of things. The risk of not being consistent, the fears that many, especially in the beginning years, deal with the fear of potentially not being successful, of not having your dream, your vision manifest the way in which you think it should. As entrepreneurs, we are also dealing with limited social interactions many times. We're not able to get out there and be with our friends on the same schedule that our friends might want us to be. This is especially true for those who are first starting out. Now, you'll find on many of the social media platforms that those that talk exclusively about entrepreneur life, that type of lifestyle, they will say things like, you will find yourself working when they're partying. You will find yourself being and doing when they are not. But if you concentrate, if you focus, if you are determined for, and there's usually a set amount of time depending on your industry. It could be a year, it could be 3 years or 5 years, usually. If you're determined, if you're focused for that amount of time, your hopes, dreams, wishes, and aspirations will come to fruition. They will manifest and be exactly what you thought they were going to be. But in the meantime, between time, many times, there's that worry and stress of, is it going to actually be what we want it to be? The other side of that coin is it can have the result of irregular money coming in. What do I mean? Now, you could have the month that you were hoping that you would have, or you may have the week that you were hoping you were going to have, or you may not. You may say, oh, this is easily going to be a fill in the amount. This is easily going to be a $10,000 weekend. Oh, this is easily going to be a $50,000 month. Whatever it is that you're thinking, right? This is easily going to be this. Or perhaps you're just starting out and you're hoping that you have a $2,500 weekend. Whatever it is, the dollar amount is not important. It's whatever your aspiration is, right? Whatever your target amount was. You're hoping that happens. And what happens? You end up falling short. Sometimes you get half of what you were shooting for. Unfortunately, I do remember having those weekends where I sold one thing. Just one. Was I happy for that one thing? Absolutely, because it made a difference in the life of that one person. But was I hoping to sell more? Of course. But that is the trial and tribulation. That is #entrepreneur lifestyle. The things that we have to go through, the aches and pains, the growing pains, if you will, when you're first starting out. But if you are a seasoned entrepreneur, we still have to throw out the idea of self-care. you too need to make sure that you, the seasoned one, the one that knows all of the tips and tricks, you too need to make sure that you are taking care of yourself. This is especially true if you happen to live in the US. Western culture has a way of telling us that if we are not stressed, if we are not sleep deprived, if we are not on the verge of burnout, if we are not always working, if we are not always thinking, then we are not living a successful life. We have to be very careful of that. Because with success, it should also be the balance of self-care. You should always keep yourself from being at the verge of burnout. Now, I know many of you are saying, well, Dr. Angela, you're telling me don't dip my toe in burnout. My whole foot's already in burnout and I'm about to have both feet there. What am I supposed to do? It is time for you to make the very important decision that you are going to care for self this week. It doesn't mean that you have to stop being creative. It doesn't mean that you have to stop being productive. It doesn't mean that you stop making decisions for your brand. None of that is true. What is true is that you are going to schedule a massage. You're going to schedule a staycation. You're going to schedule time to travel. You're going to schedule that perhaps this week you're just going to do nothing for lunch. And I know that sounds counterintuitive. You did not build your empire. You did not get your brand to where it is taking lunch and doing nothing. You are connected to your cell phone. Your laptop is always just within arm's reach. I understand. I'm guilty of all of this as well. But we do need to make sure that we are prioritizing our self-care. A small number of business owners and entrepreneurs are making sure that they provide the product or service that we need, right? We have a lot of new small businesses that are in the industry of self-care. So if you're trying to figure out how do you care for yourself and still work, I want you to understand it this way. I am going to participate in supporting a business that specializes in self-care. I am going to hashtag women supporting women. Hashtag small business owner supporting small business, right? So I want you to think differently about how you approach self-care. If you take the time to choose a small business that really tickles your fancy, perhaps the small business is in your hometown. They're in your location and you're able to go to their storefront. Perhaps you can even share that on your social media. Or perhaps this person has a particular something that you've always wanted to try. It doesn't matter the reason. But allow you, my darling entrepreneur, to support that small business and take care of yourself, mind, body, and spirit. Being a mindful entrepreneur means that not only are you aware of the things that the demographic that you serve, you're not only aware of what they need, but you're also aware of what you need. Self-care is an activity that you do for self. Self-care is a way that you give back to yourself. Self-care is a way that you express your gratitude for yourself doing what you do. Now, perhaps there's a particular body part of yours that needs extra care. For some people, you may have aching toes. Perhaps your joints bother you, or you use your hands a lot and your hands are very stressed, whatever it is. Make sure that you include that body part in your self-care. Go and get a wonderful massage. As they're working on your hands, thank your hands for the creativity that they bring forth. If they get to those toes of yours, thank your feet for holding you up, for walking you into the places where your name needs to be mentioned. Thank yourself as you are enjoying the massage for doing and being all that you could be. Now, if you are a person of faith, while you are enjoying your massage, of course, be thankful to God, to Creator. Thank you for allowing me this window of self-care to experience life in just a moment where I too am important. It is amazing the things that we can get done when we are in the right mind. Now, if you didn't hear me say it before, let me make sure that I mention it here now. Self-care is not selfish. We cannot pour from an empty vessel. No matter how much we try, when we get down to those last drops, that's it, boys and girls. You need to make sure that you are filling up your vessel. You are filling up your tank. You are recharging your batteries. If we think about the things that we do every single day, mypreneur people, making sure that we are reducing our stress allows us to be more productive. Now, stress is a normal physical and emotional response to the situations, to the tasks at hand. But it can have a long-term effect on how we operate. Entrepreneur stress is going to play a role in your life no matter what you do. So learn how to deal with it. Learn how to do it in a way that is not affecting you negatively. Self-care works to activate your relaxation responses. It reduces the cortisol that we are experiencing on a daily basis and the adrenaline that we may be dealing with as well. Depending on your industry, depending on your job, you may have adrenaline drops multiple times a day. And we need to make sure that you are going to be okay. When we participate in self-care, it helps us with our clarity. Having a calm mind is a clear mind. Now, I think we all realize that when we're upset, when we're stressed, it's more difficult to make the most correct decision. A calm and clear mind allows for our creativity and inspiration to flow. If you're overwhelmed and you're trying to multitask because perhaps you're almost at that deadline or you have put a little bit too much on your plate, it is not the best mindset to be creative, and it is not the best mindset to try to create successful goals. When you are in control of the all that you have to do, it helps you not only in clarity, but in creativity. And as entrepreneurs, that's one of the skills that we're great at being creative, at bringing something that is in our mind's eye into the tangible world and making it available for someone else. When we participate in self-care, it boosts our productivity. Now, there has been so much research done that supports the idea of taking breaks and making sure that we don't gloss over those breaks, but really taking a moment to step away from the computer, to step away from our phones. Now you'll find that more and more of the applications that we utilize in our day-to-day lives have a functionality for us to breathe. It reminds us to stand up, to go for a walk, to step away from that which we are doing. We also know that stepping away is great for our mental health. We know that our brains are on a cycle and that our brains need that time to step away so that it can recalibrate. Now, can we push it to the limit? Of course we can. We always can. Isn't that what many of us have already been doing? But if we know that a simple 10-minute break can help recharge our batteries, allow us to refocus and to jump back into the situation with a clearer mind, a more productive mind, a more creative mind, then let's take the 10-minute break. Simply walk out of your office, down the hall, look out the window for a moment, come back, jump back into it. Perhaps don't take that next phone call or make that next phone call that you need to make. Instead, take the time to breathe. After you've done that, you'll have more clarity. You'll have more creative responses to that person that you're about to speak with. It is amazing the things that we can do when we take care of self. So my reminder to you, my dear preneur person, is to take care of yourself this week. Now, there are a long list of ways in which you could take care of yourself, but I think you know what's best for you. From going to get your nails done, to making sure that you schedule a nice aromatherapy shampoo this week, or perhaps you should jog along the beach. Get a massage. Yes, get in that hot air balloon and see your city. Whatever it is that you want to do that is going to release some of the stress, do it. Do it. Enjoy the life you live. Enjoy building your brand. Enjoy being the mogul that you are. But please, by all means, remember to take care of yourself. Thank you for listening to Passionaire Magazine, the podcast.